to the table. Go ahead and take a seat. I'm just about to begin. My name is D. Midgarin, and thank you for joining us for this very special night. We are around the campfire today, and just like adventurers when they're having some downtime, we're going to sit around and tell some stories. We got Cheif.
Do we have to play the lute or anything?
No. We have minstrels in the back. They're going to be playing for us. In fact, music. Much better. So today, thank you, Thalor, and thank you for volunteering for going first. We have
no problem.
We have Thalor, Toxic. Kotsuko is returning with us. Always a pleasure to have you. And Cheif, how are you guys doing tonight?
Great.
Never better over here.
Fantastic. Thanks for asking.
So, who would like to go first? For realsies.
Oh, I'll volunteer to go, I guess, since nobody else is speaking up. Okay, so just regular stories or funny stories, sad stories, what are we looking at here?
Any story that is related to a tabletop RPG, a game that you've ran, a game that you've been in, just something that you think will be would just entertain us, because that's what we're here for.
Well,
for entertainment.
I have several little vignettes, I guess, that stick out in my mind, and I can do them all at once, or I can do round robin with everybody else if that suits.
Let's do round robin. I know that Tox and I have a story we're going to tell together, apparently.
Oh, okay. Well, my story goes back about, let's say 20 years now. We were playing I think it was 2.5 edition of D&D with the Skills and Powers set, and our friends were sucked into Ravenloft, as it were. I was DMing this entire situation, that's one of my favorite places to go is Ravenloft, because you don't have to worry about pretty much anything. Everything goes in Ravenloft.
I don't want to cut you off real quick, but that's not a place you like to go. That's a place you love to send everybody to. I know this because I've been there a couple times.
Yeah, Ravenloft is a fun place, especially Barovia. That's one of my favorite places to go. But one time we were adventuring through there, and I was DMing, of course, and the adventuring party, I believe, was a fighter, a thief, some sort of mixed dual class character, I can't remember what it was, and a paladin. And paladins in Ravenloft stick out like a sore thumb. It's like there's this bright light that just shines down upon them, and everything just rushes at them, trying to eat them. And one of the things that we were doing there was we were trying to go through the fog at this point. When I say we, I mean the player characters. They were trying to get through the fog. And as you well know, the fog will kill you. Well, they had contacted some of the gypsy folk who know how to go through the fog, and they found out that the secret was an ancient incantation. And so the player characters wanted to know what the incantation was, and I told them. And so they were able to do it, and they ended up in Lord Soth's area. I can't remember the name of the land, but Lord Soth is this Death Knight type of thing. Wonderful character to play as an NPC. And the characters got captured by Lord Soth and tortured pretty much to give him the information about how to get out of his land, how to cross through the fog. So one of my player characters, he was a ranger, he was up on the torture rack, and he had passed his checks. He wasn't going to say what it was, so he decided to lie to him. He says, to Lord Soth, what you have to do is, and he's trying to make up something on the fly as a player, and you can see him struggling just a little bit. He's just trying to ad-lib and improv, and he gets up there. You have to go, you have to flap your arms in the air and yell shit pie, to which everybody fell out of the chair for about 15 minutes, just laughing because of how he said it. And it was amusing. And then to see Lord Soth fail his check and believe this ranger, and then I had to sit there and role play this Lord Soth, big scary Death Knight, going through the fog flapping his arms like a little girl, going shit pie. So I don't know. It made us laugh. It might not make anybody else laugh, but it was one of those things that just sticks out in my mind as a fun story for me.
Oh my god! Yes, A plus, really A plus. Oh god.
Like picturing Darth Vader, saying, "I'm a little teapot." It's just, it's I mean, Morsoth is meant to be one of the scarier characters, and when he did that and I failed the check, I was just like, oh god.
It almost reminds me of Darth Helmet from Spaceballs.
Yes.
It's just helmet flips up. Can't breathe in this thing. All right. It's a great opening story. I absolutely loved it. Who's next?
I'd like to go next.
Oh God. All right, Toxic.
So this story is actually from one of my own campaigns with a table full of brand new baby players. Nobody in this group has ever played a game of D&D in their life. And I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll make it easy for them. I'll run a module. For those of us that are familiar with 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons modules, this one was called Horde of the Dragon Queen. They had just finished my campaign, and I ended up sending them to this whole other world where it was the beginning, where they find themselves walking this dark road and they see this town in the distance that happens to be smoke rising from it, and they see this blue thing flying around in the air. Well, moving along, they get to the town, they see it being ransacked by, cultists, and they see a blue dragon, an adult blue dragon flying overhead. I'm like, all right, what do you guys do? And everybody's like, we're gonna the townspeople by stopping the cultists. But one of my players said, I'm gonna shoot the dragon. And I was looking at the book when he said this, and I just stopped and I looked up at him. I said, you want to do what now? He said, yeah. He's like, I'm gonna shoot the dragon. And then he proceeded to roll a natural 20 on the dice, and I was like, how do you go about doing this shot? To which he replied, I'm going to take my bow, I'm going to pull back as far as it'll go, and I'm going to scream Big Balls McGillicuddy and let the arrow fly. And the whole table was just like, they're on the floor laughing, and I'm just saying, I'm not laughing. I am not laughing because that was not supposed to happen at all.
At that point, as a DM, you have to have that internal question. It's like, what side of the table do I like the least? Because that side is gonna die.
So after about 20 minutes of fighting and me trying to be a merciful DM on this group of players, I was running. You know how you look at the monster and there are only so many mercies you can show them before you have to use an actual attack?
100%.
Yeah, that moment came and I was like, breath weapon. And only everybody but one person saved, and that was the wizard. And he was the only person who didn't move their piece at all. He was standing right in front of it, and he didn't move. And he got blasted. And that was the end. But to be totally honest, he was the one character that everybody in the table was trying to purposefully get killed because he wouldn't do wizard things. So that's my story of my first experience running Horde of the Dragon Queen with brand new players.
So
like that
has inspired me for my own story, and I'd like to tell it. And it is, I would like to call this story The Tale of the Foolish Rogue.
Oh, hold on. I got to get some popcorn.
Okay.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Through movie magic, the popcorn has appeared, and I love
Yeah.
that. And I think Toxic knows where I'm going with this one. So we had a party. So when I run new players, I usually pick a one shot, something that people can get done in one night. It's either your adventures and you have to complete a bounty. Well, they had to clear out this abandoned church. Is it abandoned church or was it a dilapidated church? There's cultists in the church. They had to go in there, kill all the cultists, and then go to town and get their reward money. Very, by the books, basic, do A, get B kind of thing. So the rogue decided to scout around, he's like, okay, I'm going to go scouting. I was like, okay, cool. So he goes around very sneakily, rolls I think an 18, 19 on his check. Very sneakily goes around the church, and he notices that there's the front entrance, and there's also a back entrance. And the back entrance doesn't look to be has been used. So he's like, "Oh, I got this." He didn't tell anybody he was doing this, by the by. He just wanders off on his own. So we have a barbarian, we have a wizard, we have a rogue. The barbarian and the wizard, they go check out the front door. The rogue goes to the back door, sneaks around to the back door very sneakily, opens the door, and he peeks inside. He sees all the cultists. I think he counted like 15 cultists. He's like, "Oh, okay, cool." But instead of like going to report that information to the party, he's like, "Oh, I just want to sneak in a little bit further. I'm going to sneak in a little bit further." I was like, "All right, well, if you're going into the building, I need you to roll another check for me." He's like, "Sure, no problem." He rolls a 2 on the die, so I think altogether he was like has a 7. That didn't do anything. So basically the story was he opened the door and knocked over the candelabras. It clatters to the ground. All the cultists look at him, and half of them just chase him out of the church. And so we cut back to the barbarian and the wizard trying to figure out the lock to the door, because the door is locked, it's barred. And all of a sudden the rogue is screaming high-pitched noises, running towards them, hands in the air, screaming out loud, "I do not have this situation in hand!"
That was me.
That was toxic. That was toxic. Toxic was our rogue. Golf clap for toxic. All right, who's next?
Actually, since we're talking about shenanigans and tomfoolery, I've got one of my first adventures. I was a necromancer, and I was traveling with this party, and I was keeping like the most obscure things on hand because my reasoning was you never know when we might need it. And at one point, I had a drum of oil. I can't remember why I had the drum of oil, but this is important that I have the drum of oil. So we go, we're traveling, and the DM throws this like large amount of mounted cavalry coming at us, and the sorcerer in our group is like, "Hey, you have that drum of oil, right? And you're a wizard technically." And I was like, "Well, yeah. All right, bring out the floating disc, put the drum of oil on it, launch the drum at them, and set it on fire." And I was like, "You think that'll work? Might as well give it a shot." DM looks at me and goes, "All right, sure, go for it. Let's see what happens." So I set up the disc, put the drum of oil on top of it, and launch it at the cavalry coming at us. Blows up, kills almost all of them. And the DM is just looking at us, and I'm like, "You said we could do this. you let this happen." And he just sits there staring at us for like a good 5 minutes going, "You weren't supposed to win that fight. You were supposed to run."
I love it. Oh my god.
That's wonderful. Great idea, man.
So Thalor, I'm gonna ask you to tell the Rat King story tonight, but we do have one member that we haven't heard from yet, and that is Cheif. Cheif, what's one of our stories tonight?
So I don't have that many adventures, but one that does stick out to me. So I started off in 2 major campaigns as my 2 favorite. One was yours, and one was a pre-written. So I'm not gonna say you give everything, but you can get stuff in your campaign. This pre-written module, I was in the Stormlord's Wrath, and I don't know if it's as written or how he runs it, but we did not get anything. We were getting missions done. Oh, here's 5 gold, and there's 3 gold there. We were pretty poor, and we had no magic items. I think we skipped past a lot of the ones that are even pre-written as well. And finally, I don't remember why, but we cleared out this mine, and the guy gave us a wheelbarrow from the mine. At this point, I am just being petty and sarcastic. So I fall in love with this wheelbarrow, and I take it everywhere with us, defending this wheelbarrow literally over teammates. Until one time, I had to get rid of the wheelbarrow due to no way to transport it. Instead of getting rid of it, I then take it apart and keep just the wheel of the wheelbarrow. Petty to the end, keeping this wheelbarrow. And over 30 sessions, I convinced him, putting all my spell slots into it all the time, putting countless hundreds of my gold, and we're only getting, like I said, minuscule amounts of gold. I'm putting all of it into this, just trying to make this thing magical, because no one has a magic item. finally convinced him to homebrew that I have a floating magical wheel that I ride into battle now. Because everyone had horses.
That's really cool.
And I did not.
That's really cool. I like that. That's kind of awesome.
It has become OP though. Because I will just ride into battle, 60-foot movement speed, on this floating magical wheel.
I know one or two things about making OP stupid bullshit. So.
There's plenty of OP stupid bullshit in the books too.
Yeah. Battle turtle.
I love playing with those.
All right, Toxic, you're up.
So I used to do a D&D Adventure League at this store in Southern Maryland, and this place was wonderful because of the group of people that I was with. I had a mixture of returning veteran players from like the original D&D game when it first came out way back in the day, and then a mixture of brand new people. But some of these brand new people were like the sons and daughters of the veteran players. But I ended up coming in at the tail end of a D&D module, and I was like a first level paladin in a group full of like 5th level, and I didn't really have a whole lot as far as like what I could do. I couldn't really participate in combat all that much, so I proceeded to just do outlandish shit to help the party. We were fighting this group of spellcasters, and they were coming down this set of stairs, but the set of stairs was only they were only like 1 5-foot box, and one of the other players had a magic item called the foldable boat. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but
yes.
So I didn't really have any like combat stuff that I could do, so I proceeded to take the foldable boat that he gave me, and I unfolded it and planted it on the stairs and pushed the wizards or the spellcasters back up into the stairwell, while the rest of the group decided to shoot spells and arrows into there. And the DM ended up getting so frustrated that his spellcasters were failing the strength check to push the boat back and get into the room, that he ended up making the spellcasters all cast fireball at once and blow themselves up.
God.
And when the session was over, he took me aside and he was like, "Why would you do that? Why, what possessed you to come up with the idea?" And I was like, "Well, there's nothing really else that I could do." So I figured what I would do is I would help the party by mitigating the problem.
Yeah.
And he was like, "That was amazing. Come back, please. Please come back. Do more stuff like that." So that's how my paladin helped a party full of higher level adventurers by not really participating in combat. Woo!
Love bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Next up.
I can go if you want the story.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The Rat King.
Oh my god, yes, I love the Rat King story. It's one of my favorite stories.
Yes, gather around, children.
The Tale of the Rat King.
I was one of the few instances where I was not running a game. I decided to throw it over to one of my friends who wanted to DM for a while. So he devised this wonderful, one-off piece for him, that he'd been working on for a while, and he was very proud of it. So we all rolled up, first level characters, and we went in, and basically this town was being assaulted by these rats, and there was a rat king basically living in the sewers, and he was guiding all these things, and so we had to go down into the sewers, of course, and fight off all these vermin and things like that. And we get to the Rat Kings. After fighting all the way through it, we've leveled up a couple times. We've resupplied. We've gone back down. We're ready for the main battle. And we get into the Rat King's chamber, and it's, he's sitting on a throne. He's got these buff rat guards next to him. He kind of like were-rats almost. There's like 4 or 5 of them. I can't remember which. And there's 2 of us. So we walk in expecting to have this huge battle. When we step in, and we both gain initiative, before the rats go, and we just started rolling 20 after 20 after 20 after 20 after 20. It was insane, the numbers of 20. I swear, we looked at our dice like, is there nothing but 20s on this thing? And by the time the end of the first round had hit, we had dropped all 6 of the guards. And the Rat King stands up on his turn, points his sword at us, and goes, "Surrender!" That's how the guy had scripted it out. And he didn't know what to do from there. He didn't have a contingency plan. He thought it was going to be, a good fight. So he's ordering us to surrender. My friend looks at the Rat King and goes, "Very well, we accept your surrender." And that's the Rat King story.
That is incredible.
I love that story.
It was just amazing rolls after amazing rolls. We were just agog. I mean, we should have by rights lost this battle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were not prepared for the 5 or 6 level or guards that were above our level, and we just annihilated them. It was just wow. I'm still fascinated by that.
So this story comes from when I was actually playing in fact, it was not the same group, but it was at the same gaming store that Toxic had his story from. Toxic actually was in this gaming group with me. Very wonderful DM. It was a homebrew campaign. We were adventuring in this city where everybody was basically evil, and so I was playing a sorcerer. My sorcerer's big stick that he was a mage slayer, so he was a spellcaster that killed other spellcasters, and that was kind of how I was building him. We get into this ancient tomb, and we have a cleric with us, and the cleric, he didn't die, but he lost his holy symbol, and I didn't know that he lost his holy symbol, and I didn't actually know he was a cleric at the time. So he lost his holy symbol. I found it. I didn't know what it was. I really, it's oh, okay, it's some holy symbol, whatever, who cares kind of crap. Put it in my pocket, and we run into this dark smog thing. It was a poison gas, but it was demonic in nature, so it actually would come out and try to kill you. And so I was very scared. I was I don't want to die, and I pull out the holy symbol, and so the smog reaches me, surrounds me, and then I roll a nat 20 on my save, and I saved, and I just walk through the smog, and my character's just staring at this holy symbol, and Toxic character's "What you got there?" And I looked at it, I was I think it's the symbol of my new god. And that's the story about how my sorcerer became a paladin.
I remember that game, because we both looked at each other and we were "So what you gonna do with it?"
Well, I kept it, and then I put it around my neck, and then I traded out my staff for a spear, because why not, paladin? And the cleric, I think it was 2 sessions after that, the cleric finally notices "Hey, that's my holy symbol." I was "Yeah, you're gonna have to take this from my dead body, because this just saved my ass. So, F you, go get another one."
The player just was just sitting there at the table shaking his head, and he was "Are you ever gonna give that back?" And Mid was "Absolutely not."
So yeah, that's the story of how my character became a paladin. Kotsuko, you're up.
Alrighty. Well, I have one that's not D&D related, but it's still it was more of a futuristic game.
Perfect.
A friend custom made a Mass Effect game, and if you guys are familiar with Mass Effect, I don't know if anyone is.
Yes, I am familiar with Mass Effect.
I was on mute. So yes, I'm familiar with Mass Effect.
Okay, cool. So I could use some of the terminology, and nobody's gonna get lost. So our group was I can't remember the exact setup of our group, but I was a Geth, and the only reason I was allowed to travel with everyone was one of the guys who would have turned me in on a nickel thought I was an advanced AI system and nothing more. And so, throughout the entire story, we're making jokes about how G is the name of my Geth, G, and G is doing some technical things, because he's not a Geth at all. But anyway, so we get to this one part where we're on a Batarian slaver ship, and the guy there takes one of the leaders escorts us over to the prison part of the ship, and says, "All right, get in." And everyone starts walking in, and I'm standing there going, "Wait, what?" And the DM is "So you guys are just gonna walk in there, huh?" And they're "Yeah, sure. Why would we not listen to him?" And I'm just sitting there I'm literally about to scream, guys. I don't want to break character, but you do realize he's trying to lock you in there, right? And they're sitting there "Oh, hey, wait a second. You can't do that to us." And it turned into we busted out of there, trashed the ship, and all the while I was sitting there trying to convince them to not trash the ship so that we could steal it. And I was like the babysitter of that group after that, because I was like, you know what, after this, guys, I don't trust any of you for making any decisions whatsoever. And I'm supposed to be the cold, emotionless character. What the hell?
Oh my god. All right, Cheif, you're up.
All right, I got another story. Same campaign. This is a lot further in the campaign. We started finding actual magic items at this point, and I found a necklace of fireball beads. And the way our DM runs it on that campaign, if you want to lie to a party member, you tell your lie to the DM, and they're just going to ask for a deception check, and you tell them the lie. And if they don't get this deception check, they don't even get to know it outside of character at all. And I lied that I had gave him 3 of the beads off the necklace, the last 3, when really it was 2, and I'd replaced the last one with a shiny rock that looked like a fireball bead. And many sessions go by. He had used 2 of the 3. The third one was still there. Third.
Mm-hmm.
We finally get into a battle with the big bad of like one of the sections of this campaign. He pulls our cart with one of our war horses right up to the big bad, loaded with high proof alcohol because this character was a drunk. So he was going to sacrifice our cart, all of our alcohol, and our war horse, and gives a giant speech about how he's sacrificing himself, he's always cared about the party, and he's sorry he has to do this to kill the big bad. And throws a shiny rock down on the ground in front of Big Bad and this cart, which he thought was like a end of character nuke. He already had another character rolled up, and the GM goes, "That's cool." Nothing happens. What? Why not? Like, he was so confused. Everybody else at the table except him knew what had happened. We all burst out laughing onto the floor. Everybody was dying. We had to go back and explain to him what had happened like 10 sessions ago when I had lied to him about this.
Talk about a gift that keeps on giving long after it stops being funny.
Right.
Yeah. And then we eventually did beat the big bad, save the war horse and the car and the alcohol.
Well, that was the most important part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he still has not got that character killed. He's trying to get that character killed. We will not let it happen.
I have a character that, like, in the beginning, constantly is like, "Hey, would you be okay if I played this character? I was thinking about making like such and such character." I was like, "Are you killing off your current character?" No. Why ask? Why ask me about this? Just in case. Like, all right, well, yeah. If your character dies, yeah, totally. It's like next week, very different character. It's like, hey, what about if I played this character? It's like, again, are you killing off your character? No, I really want to see how the story plays out. It's like, then why ask me these questions? It's just like, God, toxic. Your turn.
Okay. I have a story that's not D&D related. It's a Mutants and Masterminds campaign.
Okay.
This is actually the first time I ever played Mutants and Masterminds, and I was playing it with a group of friends that we'd been playing D&D for a while, and we kind of wanted to take a break. So our lovely game master suggested that we try making our own superheroes. So the GM and I sat down and we built out my character. He was an energy absorber, and I wanted to, absorb all kinds of different energies and then throw them back. That was the idea. One of our other players decided he was going to make a strongman, but not just like a typical strongman powerhouse character. He wanted to have a bunch of arms that goes with it. So we all built out these characters, and we were sent on this mission that we were going up to this compound. It was like a giant warehouse, and I took the powerhouse guy with me around the back, and we were gonna kind of, scope it out. And I had just gotten to the point where I could take different kinds of energy and convert them into other kinds. So I was running low on juice, so I turned to the powerhouse and I was like, "Hey man, you think you could charge me up?" And he was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "I need you to hit me a bunch of times so I can make electricity." And he just looked at me. He's like, "You want me to hit you?" And I was like, yeah, come on, I can take it. So just as he starts this onslaught of backslapping, the speedster comes out of nowhere, and he just dead stops, and all he sees is this really, really large four-armed guy just smacking the crap out of this regular-sized person with multiple arms, like a child that's being punished for something. And while he's smacking my back, I'm absorbing the energy, and I'm using my fingers like an art cutter and cutting a hole in the wall. And we all turn around, and the speedster's just staring at us, and we both look at him, and we're like, "What?"
Speedster is like looking at you like, "I'm gonna go now."
Were you all wearing leather at the time? Or?
Actually,
bright yellow spandex. Bright yellow spandex is what they were wearing.
it was. I was like, and I just looked at the other player, and I was like, "Don't make this weird."
Sure.
God, at least look me in the eyes, guy.
Dinner. I went dinner first.
Dinner, then slapping.
Dinner, then slapping. Yep.
The courtesy of a drink first. Yeah, that's my story.
All right, Thalor.
I got a story. It's non-D&D related, but before I do that, I just want to say something to Midgarin, which is Hail Heronius. He'll know what that means.
Oh no.
That was one of the funny things that happened, but it was just very quickly for everybody else. Whenever we'd start our sessions, these two people who created their characters, Midgarin and another character, had the same god, and they found out they had the same god. So every time they did something or even looked at each other across the table, Hail Heronius! Hail Heronius! Hail Heronius! That was a running gag. Anyway, my story revolves around a little-known RPG called Brave New World. If you can find a copy of it, I suggest getting it. It's really fun. It's like Mutants and Masterminds, but it's a different system. It revolves around mutants, of course. And one of the characters you can play, and one of my friends, by the way, preface this, had talked me into playing a character, so he could run this campaign he was working on. I chose the character class of Magician, and the Magician class actually can do magic. He looks like those cheesy magicians you'd see at kids shows and on TV, that whole whatever. And but he actually can do real magic. And the reason he can do real magic is every spell that he learns, he has to make a deal with the devil, basically. He has to make a deal with some sort of demon.
Oh, I know this story. I love this story.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, well, I need something that's damaging. And the demon says, I have just the thing. And boom, you can now shoot fire from your fingertips it'll go out to here and out of character, it'll cause this much damage, blah, blah, blah. Do you accept? Oh, what am I accepting? Well, at some point in the future, I will ask you a favor. You cannot turn it down. I said, well, in character, I'm like, well, okay, but I have one stipulation. He said, what is the stipulation? I said, I will not harm a child. The demon thinks about it and says, deal. So I get my power. I'm running around with this group of people. We're causing havoc, of course. And a couple months down the road, I'm sitting in my bed and the demon shows up at the foot and he says, I am here to collect on your bargain. I'm like, okay, very well. What is it you will have me do? He says, I need you to go out, find this person. He hands me a picture of this guy. Says, I need you to kill him. I looked at it and I said, I can't do this. And the demon looks a bit confused and says, but you agreed to it. You are bound to it. I said, but there was a stipulation. It said I would not harm a child. Yes, and this man is somebody's child. And the look on the DM's face,
Oh my
the look on
god.
the DM's face was like, well, shit. You got me. He was not pleased with that because I kind of ruined his arc. But yeah, it's an interesting game to check out for sure. If you can ever find a copy of it, I got mine off of eBay way back for like super cheap because they were just liquidating them. But it was a fun story.
So, keeping with the theme of not D&D related. So this story comes from Dark Heresy, which is the 40K role playing. This was in first edition. Very good game. If you have an opportunity, please pick it up. So I was playing a scum, which is kind of like their quote unquote rogue, and I was playing with another character. In fact, it was the same player that Toxic story involved around. He was my brother Scum. We were brothers, and we had to. I don't exactly remember what we had to do. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been forever. But we had to get into this warehouse, and we had to do something in this warehouse, and basically I think we had to we had to go in there and wipe the mainframe or something like that. It had to involve something like of that nature. Well, we didn't exactly want to do that, so here's what happened. Surprisingly, grenades and everything cost a little bit of money, but the exploding collars that you could put on people and you could remote detonate, very cheap. We bought a truckload of them. And then we delivered them to the warehouse. And with this other character, we're going to name him Orc to protect the innocent because, well, that's his name. So Orc and I, we's like, okay, well, we have this delivery for you. Here's our manifest. And we don't, this is like, look, it's not my problem. It's not my problem. Here's your address. Here's the crate. Here's everything that you need for it. This is your problem now. It's not my problem. And we role played. The DM did not want us to put these bombs in his warehouse, but it wasn't up to him. It was up to the dice, and the dice said we could. So begrudgingly, he just oh, yeah, we'll take a look at it. We'll open it, whatever. And so they put it in the warehouse. We ran, and we set off the bombs, and we blew up the warehouse. The warehouse was a pile of rubble by the time we were done with it. And then we went in to collect our reward because the mainframe was wiped. No one could get to that information anymore. I mean, we did the mission. The DM was not happy and docked our pay, the bastard.
Aw.
I'm still a little upset about that one. I'm still a little bit upset about getting my pay ducked. We did the job. Yeah, we caused a little bit of collateral damage, but who doesn't, nowadays? Kotsuko, what you got for us?
You have to give me a minute on that one, because I need to think of some more crazy stories that I have.
Cheif, you got anything for us?
I can top off my trilogy of the same campaign here.
Yes! Please do!
I don't have very many campaigns, so this is the final story of this campaign.
And he continuously says he's not the baby of the group. It's I don't want to...
Well, sorry that, most of my other ones have already been recorded and are on the same channel, so...
I would listen to this, you're fine.
This is the one no one knows about. I'm doing the ones no one knows about.
I appreciate that.
So, we were heading into a town on the Sword Coast, and all the townspeople and even the leaders of the town were fleeing due to a gang of people showing up and just laying waste to the city. And instead of just being the heroes like the DM wants us to and just run in and just save everybody and continue with the theme of not getting paid enough, we just go, yeah, we can help you, but we want property in the town once we save the town. And the DM's like, what? But a few nat 20 charisma checks from multiple people in the party later, we agreed to save the town for 4 businesses. We wanted a tavern, a fishery, all kinds of stuff. We saved the town. He tried to make it hard on us. He's like, all right, well, you gotta fix them up, you gotta do this. And every obstacle he puts in our way, just natting whatever check he puts in our way. Until 5 sessions later, we pretty much own this whole town. And he has had to completely rewrite this pre-written module to just include the income and the business side And that's what this campaign is like turned into. We are now businessmen. It's just it's pretty much not even the pre-written anymore.
Best adventures are the ones that go completely off the rails.
Oh yeah, I love them. Love them dearly. All right. Anybody else got a story?
I've got a couple.
Okay.
Short one that my son wants to tell. Well, wants me to tell for him. He was indoctrinated into playing D&D at IT Tech. He was at a summer camp for computers, and at night they would play Dungeons and Dragons, and he was playing a character, and they were going up against this orc, and there was a bard who had enchanted the orc or did something to anger it. So he walked up to it, to try to console the orc, realizing he had a dagger in his hand, and then proceeded to backstab it from the front 3 times critically, because he happened to roll that highly on his attack rolls. He didn't mean to. He meant to comfort it, like, oh, there, that's okay. And then he's packing his back with a knife. I mean, it's just he thinks it sounded funny to me when he told it, but I'm probably mistelling it somewhat. But the one I wanted to tell, apart from that, was we had a character running around, and he had fascination with Greek fire. So he would always carry at least 5-6 vials of Greek fire in his backpack. Greek fire, for those of you who don't know, when you throw it, as soon as it hits air, it explodes like napalm. So he's carrying this in his backpack, and things go by, and they get to a town, and they end up getting chased by the local constabulary. So they're trying to parkour their way across the city, and the guy carrying all this Greek fire ends up trying to leap from a building top to another building top and critically misses his jump check. He then falls to the ground, lands on his backpack, which shattered 4 of the 5 vials of Greek fire in his backpack, causing him to explode in the middle of the town, causing about a 6-foot wide crater in the middle of the town. They found pieces of him everywhere, apparently. So he learned not to do that as a player character anymore. He didn't carry that much with him. But I mean, Greek fire has its uses as long as you don't explode while using it. That was the lesson to learn there.
My God.
That's awesome.
That is friggin' awesome. So I have a story about a really bad player. And Thalor Toxic knew of this player. I don't have a cute nickname for him, but as soon as I start telling the story, you'll know who it is. So I think Thalor's got a clue. So we were playing in a Greek campaign, and it was myself, Orc, DT, and then another player. And so we're all journeying through to the Greek world, and we meet our 4th player. We meet our 4th adventurer. And it's like, oh, hello, I'm, I can't remember what my name was. I can't remember what my character's name was. It was like 10 years ago. You're going to have to forgive me. But we all went around, and the guy goes, I have no name. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Your name is Bob. and he's like, my name is not Bob. I was like, how do you know that your name is not Bob? It very much could be Bob. So we go around journeying, and the entire time I'm calling him Bob. Orc's calling him Bob. DT's calling him Bob. And we get to this tournament thing, and we all I didn't sign up. We all go to it. I didn't sign up. Orc signed up, and Bob signed up. And the entire, every time he walks onto the field, I just start screaming out, Bob, Bob, Bob. Whole crowd goes, Bob, Bob. And so, at one point, he did save my character's life. And I was like, oh my God, you're really good. You're no longer Bob. He's like, really? I go, yeah, you're Robert. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, every time you go up in a stage, we'll change your name. You go Robert, you would go Bob, Robert, Roberticus, and then, of course, once you become a hero, then we'll give you the proper name of Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
He sadly never reached Antonio Banderas status, which
Surprising. I know who you're talking about.
Nobody can reach Antonio Banderas status.
Right?
Yes, no one can reach me.
That man owns my heart. Wow, this went long. Time flies and everything. All right, does anybody have one final story for the night? If not, Toxic and I have a story we can tell together.
I actually would like to tell one more, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
This was when I was still a new player to Dungeons and Dragons. I was introduced to Dungeons and Dragons in 3.5 edition, and I fell in love with the rogue class. And everybody was like, well, you can choose to be like an assassin. There's, I didn't know there were all these subclasses or how long the game had been around, but I was fascinated.
Class.
Right. I was fascinated with, either being an assassin or being the trap finder, the dungeoneer, if you will. So this time around, I'd chosen to be the dungeoneer. And we were sent to find this giant, I think it was a fire giant's pet.
Oh,
he didn't tell us what the pet was. He just said, go find my pet. He sent us on this long ass mission to find us, but we finally figured out where it was, and we walk into this cave entrance, and we get maybe, what was it, maybe 30 feet in?
Yeah, something like that.
We get about 30 feet into the cave when we see these two figures standing there side by side, blocking the path. And we walk up to them, and I think they were mountain dwarves. They were two mountain dwarves sporting mountain plate, and
they were iron defenders. Is what they were.
Oh my god! And we maybe fought them. How long did we fight them for? Like half an hour. We fought them for like maybe half an hour. We weren't getting anywhere.
It was 45 minutes. They had 23 to their AC. And we were like level 7.
Yeah, so we're fighting these guys, getting absolutely nowhere. And the druid, who was played by
Midgarin,
it decided, you know what, fuck this, I'm done. And he just like he claps his hands together like Full Metal Alchemist style and slams them on the ground and opens like a 30 to 40 foot hole in the ground and dumps them in. And then closes it, and we promptly walked out of there. We were like, no, I'm not fucking doing this. So we came to find out that the friend that was DMing this campaign had been going through some things and created this campaign as his hate child, and just proceeded to spank the fuck out of us for like 6 or 7 sessions, and we were like, we don't want to play anymore. We're done. Can we go home now?
Side note: I really do love you, Orc, and you always have a spot here on the Sunday nights. We miss you very deeply.
Yeah,
Come
me
to
too.
us. Come to us.
we do miss you. I miss Frank and Bob especially.
Oh, for that. All right.
Going back to the story that was before, does everybody know what DT stands for?
Dragon turd.
Dragon teaser.
Dark Templar.
No, he's really bad at it, so it was dragon turd.
Ah.
Alright, it's time for the story.
Does anybody else have anything?
Something real quick.
Go ahead.
Once upon a time, there was this guy, and he had another baby. Congratulations, Mid.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations.
I wanted to get that in there before the end of the session.
My sweet Stormborn has come to us, so we have baby aggro and Stormborn now, so that's hopefully I'll have a logo made for Stormborn soon. All right, so this story has gone down as the story of Derp the Dragon. Oh god, I hate you people. So my lovely Burrito, the love of my life Burrito, and Toxic and a couple other people were on a ship, and they were heading north, and they were trying to fight. They were trying to like end this dragon cult. They were trying to end this dragon cult, and so the dragon cult, being a dragon cult, they had access to a dragon. So I sent out a blue dragon. It was a young adult dragon, very young, very ambitious dragon, ready ready to make a name for itself. And it heads out to the ship and ready to do battle. Well, my lovely Burrito, who's playing a wizard at the time, decides that this is the perfect opportunity to try her new spell, Storm Sphere. So what that spell does is that you create a sphere of high winds, and anything inside the sphere has to make a save. And if they fail to save, they're knocked prone. Well, we're over water, so the dragon fails the save and falls into the water. And then on its turn, it gets back into the sky, fails its save, and then falls into the water. This goes on for 10 turns. 10 turns.
Oh my god.
Believe me, as a player in that campaign, it was majestic to behold such failure.
And so Toxic was the one that did the final blow. And like I was just so upset. And I just put my stuff down. I was like, and so ends the tale of Derp Derp the Dragon.
But let me tell you how the tale of Derp Derp the Dragon failed.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so Derp Derp the Dragon met his end because my character, the swashbuckling rogue, decided that he was going to tie a rope to his leg, then tie the other end to a ballista bolt and fire it at the dragon and just go flying at it. Well, the ballista bolt landed right where it should, but the swashbuckler ended up like a bug on the windshield, just slapping the face of this dragon and just ending up getting damaged there, and gets up on the next turn and decides to stab the dragon, and when the dragon dies, it falls onto the deck and just like throws me there, and I just get up like nothing happened. And I was like, I have defeated the dragon all by myself with no help from anyone. And everybody's like, we saw that, right? We saw you do the dumbest thing that he has ever been. I failed the dexterity save as a dex-based character.
Oh my god. Well, we have come to the end of our campfire. Hopefully everybody that was involved had a great time. I know I did. Hopefully all of you and everybody listening over at home. Thank you all so much for being part of this. Hopefully you enjoyed yourselves. If you did like it, please don't forget to like, subscribe. It helps out the channel more than you think it would. And we'll see you all next time here on Sunday nights. Minstrels, play us out.